All right, guys, titles, go.
Long fingers.
Slapped by an Avery.
Until right now.
COVID Valley.
Everybody is a fuck.
Bogey fingers.
Do I have to shoot it?
And most I can do. All right. Let's do this.
Warning. What you are about to hear contains explicit language, adult themes, and potentially disturbing content. The views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts and do not reflect the opinions of anyone else, anywhere, ever, in the history of the world. This podcast is intended for an immature audience and should not be listened to by anyone, anywhere, ever, in the history of the world. You know, fuck it. You've been warned.
Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Geek Pod. I'm your host, Paul.
I'm Hugh.
Orbs.
I'm Kev.
Guys, what's got you geeked?
Well, let's see. I got a voltmeter in the mail because I've got a breaker downstairs. It's buzzing off and on. So I got the voltmeter so I can maybe not kill myself when I replace it. I'm thinking about seeing if I can attach some tin foil and some coat hangers to the ends of it and make an EMF meter. I don't know. I'm going to see what I can do. Going to the Chinese buffet tomorrow because it's Avery's birthday. We're going to Walmart too. That's always fun. I look forward to Walmart every week.
Which Chinese buffet?
Probably Empire.
Where's that? The one in Maryville?
Yeah,
No.
Erie Boulevard.
Erie Boulevard.
Erie Boulevard.
Actually, this whole thing is basically there's not a whole lot going on except for Avery's birthday. She turns 10 tomorrow, so it's a decade of derpidence, as I'm calling it. Yep, decade of derpidence. We are going to be going actually tomorrow for lunch. She wants. Her mother has to take her to McDonald's and Burger King to get stuff from both places and bring it back for lunch. And then she wants to go to the Chinese buffet for dinner. And then Saturday, we're having a party with friends and family. Not really a party. It's like a drive-by thing with an ice cream truck. We're getting an ice cream truck to pull up and, give everyone ice cream and then we pay for it.
Yes, that's always a good time.
To bring you the ice cream man kind of truck?
I guess so. It's
awesome.
I mean, if a guy shows up in a red pickup with rust spots and a cooler in the back, I'm not paying him $25 for drive time. That's for sure.
But if he shows up with a white van with no windows,
It's ice cream sprayed on the side.
There you go. Well, I don't know. Some of the parents might want to let the kids go inside and turn it on, but we'll see. Depends on how crazy the kids driving. But yeah, then that's this whole week is consumed with that. So I don't have anything really that has me super excited. Just trying to survive Avery's birthday week.
Perfect.
She had an alarm set on her Fitbit for 2 a.m. to get up and start celebrating.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we had to stop that. I hope.
I'd stop that too.
Right, with a quickness.
And you can
get up at 2. I'm going to sleep until 8.
The funny thing is, for a kid that celebrates, she's all excited. She thinks this is going to be the best birthday, the best few days of her life ever. What did you do when it was coming up on your birthday? Were you nice? Did you treat your parents well?
I don't think
because
I
you thought
changed.
they were going to do stuff. Okay, she slapped me in the face this morning.
well, what did you say?
When she slapped me in the face,
Yeah.
The next time you do that'll be your last.
No. Before she did it.
Oh, no. It was because I got her pancakes. She likes little frozen chocolate chip pancakes. So we keep them in the freezer, made her a batch. She comes, I want more. I'm like, and I'm in the middle of making and drinking my morning smoothie. I'm like, well, I'm having my breakfast. Get the pancakes out of the freezer. She goes, she picks the bag up, not looking at what she's doing, and flings the last 2 pancakes across the floor and starts screaming at me that it's my fault because I didn't put them away right. Not that she didn't watch what she was. I put them in the fucking bag. I mean, what else am I supposed to do? Staple it shut?
Duct tape.
It's a bag. So she's yelling at me, and I'm like, it's not my fault. You don't pay attention. And that's when she slapped me.
Did she give you what did the 5 fingers say to the face?
No, she didn't.
Slap.
So her eyes went wide when I'm like, yeah, the next time you do that'll be
4
your
fingers
last.
and a thumb.
Oh.
It's still a
But yeah.
finger.
No, I'm not talking with you guys about my daughter and fingers. So I know we're in conversation.
Why did you go there?
Where did that come from? That's just wrong.
How many conversations we've had have like devolved into it? 2 in the pink and 1 in the stink.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Paul does. That's come up.
I do, but I even, as much of a scumbag as I am, I even have a line where I'm not going to discuss this with one of my buddy's kids.
I didn't think you would talk about connecting the 2 things specifically. I'm just not comfortable talking about my daughter and
what kind of people do you think we are
with you guys.
Jeez. I'm hurt. That's disgusting. And a lot of funny.
How about you, Corbs? What's got you geeked?
Just for me, it's relief. I mentioned to Paul today, Kelly, my girlfriend, actually had surgery today. She had that's why I was at Upstate today. I took her this morning for pre-op and all that stuff, dropped her off to get surgery. They found a volleyball-sized mass on one of her ovaries.
A what sized?
Volleyball.
Volleyball.
Volley.
Yeah, I thought I was not hearing that correctly.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, about that big, yeah. But right on one of her ovaries. So good thing about it is wasn't cancerous. They tested it beforehand, but because it was so big, they wanted to remove it. So she was there today. I got the phone call about 1 o'clock that she was out of surgery. Everything went well. So, and she's up there now. She's resting. I stopped up and saw her for a few minutes because I had to take my son to his back to school barbecue today. He went and got his schedule, got to walk around the school and whatnot. So we did that. So I couldn't stay up there until, because they called, when she was in recovery, she was still kind of out of it. So they hadn't gotten her a room yet. So when I got there, they still had the room. So, and I said to the nurse, I said, well, I'm not going to, I have her stuff. I brought her stuff up. She wanted me to bring, she had a suitcase packed with some clothes that she would wear home and all that stuff, her phone and her glasses and stuff like that. So I brought her up there and I'm like, is it all right if I just leave it up there? Can I come up and just see her real quick? Because I'm not going to be here when you guys get her in a room or whatever, because it was going to be at least another hour. And we had to be there at 4. That would have put it at 3:30 and I wouldn't have gotten all the way back home and then back to the school by 4 o'clock. So not at that time down there. So they let me come in and see her and stuff. I mean, she was still pretty groggy and out of it, and I haven't heard from her yet tonight, so she's probably still
out,
pretty much out of it. I didn't expect to hear from her tonight, but she is doing okay. Everything was fine. They did exactly what they were supposed to do for her, and now she's just got to recover. They said 6 weeks recovery time, so.
Wow.
Yeah. So
yeah, I just Googled it because I was still in shock. But yeah, apparently that's like a real thing. Volleyball, basketball size.
Yep.
I was just like wondering, I mean, okay, if she has a tumor that big on her ovary, is she keeping it in a pocket dimension? I mean, I wouldn't think that something that big could fit inside.
Yep.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And she was never in any pain. And they couldn't understand why. They're like, this is something that size, you should be in pain. She's like, every once in a while, like when I'd roll over, I would feel like I would have pain in my stomach, but that's it. It wouldn't be anything other than that. She's like, laying down, it didn't hurt. Walking around, it didn't hurt.
Wasn't sticking out or anything?
No. So when she went to see her female doctor, they were like, oh, they came in to do the sonogram or whatever. And she's like, "Oh, your bladder looks like it's full. Go, why don't you go try to go to the bathroom so we can get a good." She's like, "Look, I just went to the bathroom before I got in here." She's like, "Well, your bladder's full." She's like, "Okay, so we'll go ahead and try it." So 5 minutes she was in the bathroom. She couldn't go. She came back out. She said, "I can't go." So they were like, "Oh, okay, something's not right here." So they looked again, and they called the doctor in. And the doctor's like, "Oh, we need to send you up to upstate cancer." That's where they sent her to make sure it wasn't cancerous.
Oh, man.
So yeah,
Scary shit.
It was pretty scary. She was kind of freaked out about it until I'm like, "You can't go there first. You gotta find out what's going on first. We'll deal with it when it comes up." She's like, "Why are you so calm?" I'm like, "Because there's no reason to be upset. If something comes up, then shit will change. But no sense in jumping to the worst if you're not there yet." So, but thank God she's okay.
So is this something that happened in a year, or I mean,
She has no clue.
She didn't have the same examination a year ago. I don't know. I don't know about the schedules of those.
Yeah, I don't know when her last OBGYN appointment is. I don't know if they didn't notice it at the time. If it wasn't that size, and all of a sudden in a year it became big or whatever. So, like, I don't know because I haven't, her and I didn't discuss that whole part of it. I don't even know if she asked the doctor that whole situation. So,
wow.
So I'll go up and see her tomorrow after work. So find out how she's doing and whatnot. So she asked if you would make sure to edit this and have it up as soon as possible.
Oh, so she has something to.
So she can let's do it in the hospital.
All right.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, she'll see us talking about her.
Yes.
She'll enjoy that. So
we'll make sure we don't make any finger jokes about your girlfriend.
Oh, see, he gets the guarantee. I don't.
He didn't get a guarantee from me. I
just said we won't. I'm not saying we won't do it off camera,
but well, Kelly, speedy recovery. We can see that Corbs is really broken up about this. He's a man of much emotion. We see.
Yeah, he looks it.
See, and that was my thing is you're telling the story about how you're staying calm. It's like I've never seen that man not in that mode. Like that's just who Corbs is. He's the Iceman.
There's no, like I told her, there's no reason to get. I mean, when it's time to get upset, trust me, I'm there. Like if it's something that was wrong and it was something else, yeah, I would be a mess. But I'm always that guy that you can't go to the dark side until you need to get to the dark side. Stay positive. If it's your time, it's your time.
There's no sense in having extra distress,
right? And
then find out you didn't need to be distressed,
right?
That's for sure.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, when she told me about it at first, I was upset. I was worried, but I'm not going to let her know that I was upset and worried about it because
until right now.
Right. Well, and on the same token, like we're saying, you didn't need to get there. I mean, yes, she told me about it. I talked to my mom about it, stuff like that, just because I need to have somebody to talk to about it and whatnot. But when I see her and when I talk to her about it, it was always like, well, let's just wait and find out and stuff like that. Just to, doing everything I could to keep her calm. And then I said, well, if it's something that we need to worry about, then we'll worry about it at that time.
Yeah.
If it's not, then we just go about. And I don't think the doctor was. Excuse me. I don't think they were like really concerned, but because of the size, they wanted to remove it.
Oh yeah.
So if it wasn't that size, I don't think they would have removed it. But because it was so big, they were like, we gotta, we don't want it to. If it's first of all, if it's cancer, we don't want it to spread.
Right.
So, and then when they were in there, they checked it hadn't spread. It was just localized to that one spot. So they removed it. So.
I don't know if you call this morbid curiosity, but I am curious about what the mass is made up of.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious myself. Yeah.
What extra materials are there in the body that allow that sort of thing to grow and be created and form together like that?
Puppies and kittens.
God, I hope that's not what she had inside her.
This is taking a turn already.
I'm just, all right.
I don't know, and I obviously I didn't see the doctor. I mean, I guess that's a question that you could ask, but I don't.
It was
go
made
with
up of all the plastics in Subway bread.
That's a lot.
So it's basically the dam at the end of the river.
Wait.
Well, that's where all the stuff stops. It's just forms there.
it. Right. So,
Okay. No.
How do
Again,
you-
best wishes. That's all I got. and I will edit as fast as I can.
so
So.
appreciate it. So
I think he-
ask you.
I think he just posts it. I think he just hits post. I don't think he really does any editing. That's.
Hmm.
I don't think you're supposed to know that.
There's not much really needed to be edited, though. I mean, you got to throw some commercials and whatnot in there, but
Apparently nobody watched the last episode, huh?
I can tell you.
Nobody- Why? What'd you do?
Oh, let's just say everybody has their own intro to their segment now.
Oh, what did you do?
You'll have to watch and see. And for those of you who have watched, let me know what you think. They're all unique,
All
and,
two of them?
and I think they're
Oh,
pretty
boy.
perfect. But Kev, what's
All
got
right.
you geeked?
I don't know how the hell I'm going to follow all that, but Jesus. Oh, I don't know. We got game night coming up tonight or Friday night. I haven't really invited many people yet. I always wait till the last minute to invite anybody. Don't really know what we're doing. Our kitchen is completely tore apart because we're getting new countertops. It's the first part of everything else that's going on in the kitchen. We got a lot of stuff planned. Countertops and new look to the cabinets. We had some cabinets modified, and we had a wall oven taken out and made a cabinet out of it. Took another section of cabinets out completely, and so they'll all get actually they're getting stripped and painted, and then new hardware after the countertops, and then flooring. We're going to do flooring, and that should be the end of it. So the kitchen's all tore apart, so we got to keep it kind of small. But yeah, so game night Friday night, and then I don't know. I was gonna go do another practice ride for that rally I've got in September, but that takes me through Happy Valley not once but twice. And now after the conversation we had off camera before we started tonight, I'm not really so sure I want to do that, even though it's going to be, well, actually, when I leave, it'll be daylight. When I come back, it'll be dark. And I'm going to do it by myself.
Yeah.
No.
Not by yourself.
You need your support team to do it. That's what you need.
I need a freaking shot in the head is what I need.
That won't help. I mean, if you need a minister, I mean, you got two of them in your crew here. Just saying.
I'll let Kathy know to call you if I don't make it back.
I mean, I got to check. I don't know if I can preside over a funeral, but
May not be a funeral, may just be a missing person report.
I'm definitely not the right person for that. I'll mobilize the team though. We'll go looking for you.
Yeah.
Then if we go there, Kevin can haunt us.
Right.
Oh,
He's what we'll catch. Yeah.
You ain't never been haunted until you've been haunted by me.
just don't violate me.
That's gonna be his MO.
I got long fingers. Is Hugh frozen? Because he really doesn't seem like he's reacting at all. Nope, he's just not listening.
No, I'm actually watching last week's show to see what was added.
Oh, son of a bitch!
Now's not the time to review the show.
I do what I want.
Oh my god!
Not if you want to stay on the show. All right, so for me, it's just the Dropkick Murphys. They're coming this coming Sunday. I'm gonna go down, check it out. I'm gonna risk COVID alley down there, and
Well, thank God we're not doing this in person.
what?
So thank God we're not doing this in person.
I haven't gone yet.
I'm just saying, you're gonna go to COVID Valley.
I said alley, COVID alley.
COVID alley, ground zero. Whatever you
Hold
want to
on.
call it. Just get
Paul, you're a dork. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
them. They're awesome,
Thanks.
especially Kev's.
I knew
Oh,
you would
come
love that.
on. Guys.
Even though
I
you
mean, that
said
is the
I'm
best
still not going
picture of
back.
him I've ever seen.
By the way, even though you've done that, I'm still not going back and listening.
If you guys really want to see him, I can isolate him for you too.
No, that's fine. I'll go look at it.
All right. So yeah, that's what's got me geeked is I'm getting the opportunity to see the Murphys again. This will be number 4 for me. Doing it on my own so I can kind of isolate, stay away from other people, do my thing. I'll be masked.
Are they going to give you shit about not being Irish?
I don't know if I'll get a chance to speak to them, but
Have you
They
seen
can sense it though, can't they?
have you seen pictures of the fair? There's nobody there.
yeah, I
You
know.
might be the only one at the concert.
I'll be down front just
So you might get a chance to talk to them. They may just
Right.
bring you up on stage and
like just
Oh,
ask
it's
me
like-
what I want to hear.
let's put a
Thanks for
chair
coming
right
out. What
here.
do you want? What's your playlist? You know, just-
You want to hear a song or do you want a drop kick? What's the origin of that? Is there actually a drop kick involved in the creation of their name anywhere?
I honestly don't know.
Well, ask them when they bring you up.
I
on
will
stage.
when
There you
we're
go.
up there. Yeah.
And
See, like-
tonight, our only fan. Come on up on stage.
And you'd be like, man, I know exactly how you feel. We only have 2.
Right. So moving on from that, what are we playing, guys?
Well, I would love to be playing the new Marvel game that my phone allowed me to download and pre-download yesterday and download and turn on today, but it runs like such dog shit that I'm just gonna erase it. I mean, it's like jittery as hell. Have you even checked it out yet, Paul?
Yeah, I've been playing it all day.
Yeah, it looks like maybe it's cool.
Aren't you
But
supposed to work during the day?
What?
Aren't you supposed to work during the day?
No, I do
Uh-huh.
afternoon when I'm not texting everybody to try and find out if we got anything planned for our fucking show.
why do you even bother doing that?
I don't know.
Anyway, though, what I do want to talk about, and I forgot to bring it up last week, is I did get to play around last weekend and the weekend before. The weekend before last weekend and the weekend before that. There was a beta for Back for Blood running. It was there was a closed beta and then an open beta, and it's Back for Blood with the number 4 for the word 4. And that's on purpose because this is from Turtle Rock Studios, who is the same company that did the original Left 4 Dead, which is a classic. They did that for Valve. Valve, the company behind Steam and everything, hired them to do that, and then it took over themselves for Left 4 Dead 2. But as everybody knows, Valve doesn't know how to count to 3. So we've been waiting for, ages for a Left 4 Dead 3 that's probably never going to come. So what Turtle Rock did is they decided to take the same concept and do their own game called Back for Blood. Now, in all honesty, I'm not sure how they're not getting sued by Valve for this, because I mean, it really is. I mean, yeah, they added a card system so that you can get bonuses and perks and stuff, and it's different survivors. They call the zombies something different, but you start playing it and you're like, yeah, this is Left 4 Dead. I mean, it's so clear it's not funny. That being said, it was a lot of fun. It feels like it's missing something, and not I don't want to say in a technical aspect, because everything's spot on there. What I did find is that I don't know if the Left 4 Dead zombies and special infected are just so iconic that and I'm used to them, but a lot of times I felt like it was just a massive shit I was shooting at. Like I couldn't tell the difference. Like in Left 4 Dead, I mean, you hear a tank or a spitter or a witch, you immediately know what it is, you immediately know where it is, and you know where not to go or what you want to do. I felt kind of lost in Back 4 Blood. I only got to play through one campaign, and I enjoyed it, but I kind of felt like I was just running around shooting blindly and hoping I hit stuff. That being said, I mean, they still have some time to work it out, and more time with the game, some familiarity would probably have helped. It looks like this is going to be a worthy successor to the Left 4 Dead name, and I'm looking forward to it coming out. I have not pulled the trigger on a pre-order yet, But my fingers on the button.
Gotcha. Now, just so we're clear, the game that Hugh was talking about, the new Marvel game, is Marvel Future Revolution. And it's basically an open world RPG, and it takes place basically, it looks like it's jumping off of the whole convergence idea from a few years back.
Does it?
Yeah.
I thought the revolution was just the loading screen.
Yeah, no. See, I've had none of those problems. I had it all pre-downloaded and I had pre-patched. Like I tried it yesterday and it allowed me to do all the patching and play the little 8-bit side scroller with Star-Lord. But now I mean I put my party together and I was able to run through missions, and it's working fine for me. My only disappointment was when you get to do your selection, it shows you the different costumes, and I thought it meant I could choose the specific costume I wanted for the characters. No, they just give you the standard general look for the characters at first, and apparently you have to unlock costumes. I'm sure it's going to be all sorts of microtransactions. Yeah. So, but so far it's pretty cool. It reminds me a lot of Marvel Future Fight. Same kind of idea as that. If anyone played that.
I did.
But,
yeah.
You both on iOS?
I am.
No.
He is not.
No, never.
Well, I just wondered if it was a resource issue on Android.
I've got an
more
LG
memory.
V20. I mean, it's not a new phone right now, but it's not super old either. I do go rock an older phone on purpose because I like the expandable storage, and the removable battery is a huge deal for me. I have been thinking about replacing this because it's starting to slow down, but I was looking at it this weekend, looking at current phones, and there's absolutely nothing I want. Because I mean, I'd love to have the giant newest Samsung, but I mean, if you can't replace the battery, I mean, that's immediately a no-go for me.
Right.
Yeah, there aren't many that do that anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't have, we're on Page Plus. I don't do contracts. I don't do that whole, buy 1,000. Hey, we'll give you a plan. We'll charge you way more for it, and you can pay us monthly for $1,000 phone. Isn't that great?
Dude, you need to look at the new OnePlus Nord.
That is one of the phones I was looking at.
Yeah, serious power and not very expensive.
Yeah.
And I mean, the one thing that took me to OnePlus was they were doing a lot more memory than other Android phones long time before anybody else decided that they needed more than 4 gig of memory. I mean, my OnePlus is 12 gig of memory, and absolutely everything on that phone runs ridiculously fast now, and the phone's over 2 years old. And,
you know what's going to kill me though, and I hate the fact that LG dropped out of smartphones altogether, is one of my favorite features of this phone is the knock-on feature, which basically means when my phone is off, I tap the screen twice to turn it on. When I'm done with it, I tap the screen twice to turn it off. That's such a fucking beautiful feature, and I haven't seen that anybody else is incorporating anything like that.
OnePlus has some screen shortcuts like that. I don't know of one that turns it off like that. But
anyway,
yes.
Gaming.
Neat.
Kev. Yes.
Me?
You.
You skip over Corbs?
I know for a fact you have something.
Oh yeah, no, I do. Yeah, so I got this. I heard a review earlier in the week. Could have been this morning, probably. I remember. And so I had to check it out. It's called what the hell is it called? It's literally Just Mowing, and that's all you do. You sit on a lawnmower and you mow lawn. That's it.
Okay. Is it fun to just mow?
It is actually. Some of the rounds reveal some pictures underneath them, and obviously there's collections you have to complete. There's chests that you have to you earn based on the number of lawns you complete on a street, and you open the chest and you get upgrades, and it's like any other game. You grind it out and you get your upgrades. This one's just a little bit less thought intensive.
That game was a lark, right? Somebody who had previously pitched a successful app said, guys, I can do no wrong. Watch this. I'm going to go pitch a lawn mowing game to the boss.
Well, it's like
and the
Goat
guy's like,
Simulator.
that sounds great. Let's make it right now. And he won the bet.
It's just like Goat Simulator. I mean,
No,
it's a joke.
Yeah, Goat Simulator is definitely a joke, but it's far more complex than mowing a lawn.
No, not really.
Have you actually played Goat Simulator?
Oh yeah.
Okay, there's more
There
to
ain't
it
much
than
to
mowing
it.
a lawn. What do you mean?
There ain't much to it. You go around kicking shit. That's Goat Simulator.
Kicking shit and blowing shit up and going into space and all sorts of crazy stuff. Riding roller coasters,
Oh,
You go ride
yes.
the roller coaster?
throwing axes at people.
With a goat?
You lick the axe sticks to his tongue, and then you swing around and try to hit people with it and kill them. I mean, it's all sorts of crazy shit.
I'm confused.
I'm not saying that it's like the pinnacle of gaming. I'm saying that it is definitely not mowing lawn.
Okay.
So with the lawn mowing game, do you have to like go and like actually get people? Like you have to go and like try to see like if you're being mowing lawns when you're like 12 years old, you have to go to somebody's house and say, "Hey, do you want to come and mow your lawn for $10?"
Basically, you're the guy that they pick to mow the lawns for all the houses in this city where nobody mows their lawn, apparently.
You are the most successful lawn mowing man in the city, apparently.
So okay, I guess the next question. I mean, you have a certain amount of time you got to get all the lawns mowed by.
No.
Can you upgrade your lawnmower?
Yeah. Change
Something.
Change the
I'm so
tires,
thrilled.
change the color. It's, you know what? I had to check it out because, the reviewers I was listening to were like, it's literally just mowing lawn. So I'm like, no, that can't be it. That really can't be it. It's it. That's all.
That's funny.
And I'm going to tell you right now, you need to just go install it and just try it and just tell me that you don't sit there and mow half a dozen lawns before you're done with it.
Is this on mobile or is it a computer game?
It's iOS and Android.
All right. Corbs, how can you top that?
I can't. Not even close. Yeah, I'm playing baseball. MLB The Show, whatever that, and then my idle golf course management or whatever the hell that game is. That's it. I've got 16 holes out of 18 built. I got to come up with the $12 billion or some shit like that. So every 6 hours you make just over $1 billion. So I wish it was real, but it's not.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, so I got just 16 holes. So I'm trying to get. I got 12 billion is the next one I got to get to for the 17th hole. I'm trying to get all 18 holes built, and then you go through and upgrade the holes. And I don't know what happens after you get all 18 holes built. That's my goal. I mean, if I get to it and you got to go to a different golf course, then that'd be cool. If it's the same golf course and you got to just keep upgrading shit, I think I'll.
Once you get all 18 holes built, you have to fill them with fingers.
It's a lot of fingers.
All your fingers.
All the fingers. And some of your buddy's fingers, apparently.
It's a good thing I got three other guys I golf with because I ain't got 18 fingers. So.
All right. Well, I think on that note, it's time for Kev's tabletop review.
Yeah, so I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight. The website I'm always referring to, or seem to be always referring to, whenever I talk about a game, BoardGameGeek.com. What I want to do is do a quick review of that website. The reason I use this website is because it is featured on several podcasts that I listen to by one or more people that actually work to keep this site going and were directly involved with the creation of the website. Now, what Board Game Geek offers I've touched on a few things in the past, but so you know that it has reviews, you know that it has example playthroughs, because I've talked about both of those things. What you may not know is that you have the ability, once you create a profile there, you can save games to your collection. I think you can have multiple collections also, but so all the games I own or I played, I include in my collection as games that I know firsthand. You also have a wish list, so games that you want to own, you want to play, you can add your wish list, and you keep very good track of those games. Now they also have a I call it a store, but it's not really a store. It's more of a, I could go on there and I could sell my games. If I wanted to get rid of them, I could sell it. There's a trade aspect also, a little bit different. So I could either list a game for what I hope to get for it and then see what happens, or I could post a trade. I could say, well, I have this game and I'd like to trade it for a different game. And you name those and you pick them from the list of games that are available on the site. Now, by the variety of the different games that I have reviewed in the past, I think that without me saying this, that Board Game Geek doesn't just include board games. It's board games, it's card games, it's dice games, and every once in a while you'll get a digital or app-based game in there, especially nice. in the case of when a board game has an app aspect to it. They don't review games like I've just mentioned, like it's just lawn mowing or mowing lawn or whatever the hell it was. That's not it. They don't do that. But like I said, if it's got a digital aspect to it, it definitely ends up there. I have yet to see a game on a shelf or heard of a game mentioned. So if you go into any one of these comic book stores or toy stores and you see a game on the shelf or see it at your local Walmart or wherever you happen to see games, or you hear somebody talk about one, I have yet to see or hear of a game that I have not been able to find on BoardGameGeek.com. And I could go and I could read about it and I could watch a quick playthrough, watch a detailed playthrough, read reviews, not just from the, I don't know if you want to call them professional reviewers or game players, but it's people that have gone the extra mile to make a video of their review, or people that just happen to own the game and have written their own reviews. Fantastic conversations on that website about different games, different aspects. I now get email alerts every time. I have subscribed to a couple of games, so whenever there's a conversation about one of those games, somebody just posted something about that Godzilla game that I mentioned the other night, week or so ago, and that come up in my email. So I went on, I read the conversation. It was about an individual that had played through and their experience with a certain aspect of the game, and they really detailed out what they experienced and what they thought was supposed to happen and what actually happened. And there was a reply to that, and it was very, very thoughtful, very insightful. And I find it very valuable. It's one of the, it's the place I go for information about a game if I'm interested in it. So I can't suggest enough. If you're interested in a game, if you're not sure what to go look for, you can pick a difficulty level and go and look at some of the playthroughs, and very quickly you can decide whether or not it's a game that you want, for you and whoever it is is going to play with you. So it's a fantastic resource. I'll continue to use it when I can, and I'll continue to draw from that website when I do my reviews. But I can't suggest it highly enough.
Perfect. Go check it out. If Kevin swears by it, with him being our resident expert on this, I mean, that is the way to go. And I think on that note, let's throw it to commercial, guys. Stick with us.
Looking for the hottest new comic on the shelf or a key back issue to complete your run?
How about that rare statue or action figure that you've scoured the internet looking for? Come to Collectibles Galore, located in North Syracuse with ample off-street parking. Collectibles Galore has a huge selection of comics, toys, and rare pop culture items you won't find anywhere else. Comics Galore is always buying comics and toys and will give you the fairest price for your collection. New customers get 15% off their first purchase in store. Collectibles Galore for all of your pop culture needs. Stop in and see for yourself why Collectibles Galore is the king of comics.
Now, before you pull a Mike Lindell and try to appeal your court case before you lose it, here's the news. First up, I Feel Stupid and Litigious. The famous naked baby from the cover of Nirvana's debut mainstream album, Nevermind, is now suing the band. 30-year-old Spencer Elden claims that they commercially exploited and marketed his child pornography to boost record sales. The lawsuit says that he has suffered lifelong damages. Now, I want to tread lightly here, because despite the fact that Spencer has posed numerous times recreating that picture with clothes on, of course, for certain anniversaries of the album and self-promotion and things like that, apparently this is something that people who have been damaged or abused will actually do. Such like a woman whose daddy molested her goes on to be a huge slut, or a guy whose father beat him goes on to beat his kids. A lot of times people will display things and still legitimately be damaged. And I don't want to downplay that, because I don't know how he really feels. I only know that this is the only reason anybody knows who Spencer Alden is. And I am a little bit cautious there. I will say that, if nothing else, while it may have damaged him, at least he can't be embarrassed by naked baby pictures when he introduces his partners to his parents. I mean, come on, you're already out of the gate. Everybody has seen his dick. Nobody's going to be embarrassed by that. Next up,
No,
I can only
wait.
I haven't.
Because I actually saw this too, and it bothered me, because I'm pretty sure we featured a story about him back a couple years ago.
I think we did too.
Yeah, because he was going on the con circuit as the guy that was the baby on Nevermind. So he was embracing it then, and apparently when that money didn't pay out there, so now he's decided he wants to, get litigious. Is that how you said it? Litigious.
I said I feel stupid and litigious.
Okay. So yeah, I'm not buying this for anything more than the money grab that it is. Come on.
But we're supposed to believe the victim, Paul.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. And if he really was a victim,
do you want to get canceled? Shut
by
the
who?
fuck up.
Which one, Laura or Kelly? Which one's going to cancel us?
All it takes is one.
No, fuck that guy. And it's funny because I actually had all of this stuff lined up with all of the article about him suing for the child porn, and then the interview from Time Magazine in 2016 where he's talking about how he's embraced it and he thinks Nirvana's cool, and he's reached out to try and meet the band, and they wanted nothing to do with him, and the fact that they pointed out that he got Nevermind in the famous font tattooed across his chest. And then in 2018 I have the announcement where he was headlining Niagara Falls Comic Con as a featured guest there as the kid from the Nirvana cover. So fuck you, dude. Now you can continue. Sorry.
How do you really feel?
Yeah, I don't mind the kid.
Next up, I can only show you the sequel. You're the one that has to watch it. Warner Brothers has announced the upcoming fourth Matrix movie is titled The Matrix Resurrections. Now, inexplicably in a normal world, Neo and Trinity have amnesia about the previous three films, much like the rest of us have tried to forget the last one. A teaser shared at CinemaCon shows a young Morpheus, colored pills, and a bunch of wire foo, and apparently Barney Stinson as a therapist. Now, I would say that is legend. Wait for it, dairy, but they're not involved in producing this film. And finally, I can't believe this is a real thing, baby. PepsiCo announced that they are making a new Mountain Dew flavor. It is a combination of two of their most famous and beloved products. It is called Mountain Dew Flamin' Hot. I am not kidding. They are merging Mountain Dew and Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Now, this is only going to be available online. It's currently, the page is up. It's $12 per six pack, and it goes on sale on August 31st. It's going to be a combination of citrus and spicy. And while I want to try this, I got to say, this is even more dude in midlife crisis than Monster Energy drink in silk shirts with flames. That's what it screams to me. I don't know about you guys. But that's the news, kids. Now I have to go board up my windows and stockpile food for the upcoming apocalypse. One of the Rolling Stones finally died. This is how it ends, folks. Paul?
Evian, spelled backwards, is naive. Back to you, Corbs.
How do you follow that?
I don't know how to follow any of the shit that he says.
I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not.
Dude, I'm buying some of this Mountain Dew. I can't buy Nuka-Cola, but I'm gonna buy this.
Nuka-Cola? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I tried to get Nuka-Cola when it came out too and couldn't find it.
I could never get any Nuka-Cola. It's from Fallout.
Oh, okay. Never played it.
It glows in the dark, dude. It's good shit.
Basically, imagine if a nuclear war happened and the Coca-Cola factories got bombarded with radiation. These are the bottles of soda that were there when that happened. So they have a very high value.
Perfect.
And it might turn you into a Mirelurk.
That's a vicious rumor.
I got nothing, so we can go. All right. I'm doing a movie that I don't know if you guys were all kind of joking when I said this, but have you guys never heard of this movie?
What? Platoon?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love this movie.
Okay.
I legitimately have never seen it.
It's an all-star cast.
But I do know about the video game Splatoon, like I mentioned in the text.
Yes, that was
a joke.
Okay.
It was a joke. Just like when I say, how was your sports ball or your Super Bowl? I actually know what those things are. I'm not a
right. Okay. I was sitting at dinner and I'm going, wait a minute. Have they really never heard of this movie? How the hell have you not heard of this movie? And then I was like, well, then you were talking about the game, and I'm like, no, that's what's close. It's Splatoons. My son played it for a while. He has it for the Switch. Yep.
Oh, here we go with the Switch again.
Yep, always back to the Switch. All right, so Platoon. And as Kev said, it's got an all-star cast. It stars Tom Berenger, William Dafoe, Charlie Sheen, Keith David, Kevin Dillon, John C. McGinley, Forrest Whitaker, and a very young Johnny Depp. It's directed by Oliver Stone, released in 1986. All right, so this one I've got is a little long, so do apologize. It's not Roger Ebert long, but it is long.
Well, not many people are Roger Ebert long.
This is true. And he's not him anymore either. In Oliver Stone's Platoon, there is no grandstanding John Wayne heroics, no back-padding reassurances that the Vietnam War was remotely considered a noble cause. This film is an act of courage. Stone, the gutsy writer-director, also has a bit part in the movie, records in a devastating barrage of images of relentless horror and senseless carnage experienced by far too many Americans in Vietnam. The movie is, in fact, so emotionally powerful that you can practically feel some of the gnawing fear that can be brung out in the savagery of most decent young men. From the very first shot, where newly arriving troops recoil at the sight of body bags being loaded onto their returning plane, you plunge directly into the blazing jungle inferno. This murky, menacing world is more terrifying than any Dante that you might have imagined. This is unquestionably what Vietnam must have felt like to the foot soldiers, which is something Stone knows about after all. He's a medal-decorated former grunt who served with the 125th Infantry in 67 and 68. And Platoon, to a large extent, is a replay of his own harrowing wartime experience. This merciless, intense movie is definitely not for the faint of heart. The atmosphere remains highly charged from beginning to end. There's no let up, no comedy to break the tension. The viewers remain as stunned and repelled by the actions as the movie's well-bared narrator, the idealistic young volunteer played by Charlie Sheen, who naively expects to find himself by sharing the mud with mostly poor and uneducated grunts. The movie, with its hallucinatory, nightmarish visual quality, captures the moral confusion and increasingly disintegration of soldiers who escape by getting stoned together. That's a pretty big part of the movie. There's two separate groups in the movie. And it's not unlike the Indonesian shadow play by the sense that the evil god, scar-faced Sergeant Barnes, played by Tom Berenger, collides head-on with a heroic, God-fearing, and delusionist Sergeant Elias, played by William Dafoe. The showdown takes place in a village where the increasingly shocking depiction of American brutality is an emotionally jarring reminder of the Mai Lao massacre, which I don't know anything about. But I mean, I don't know. He's right. I mean, I've seen this movie. I watched this movie probably 40 or 50 times. I don't know why I watch it. I don't know why when it's on, I leave it on, but it's one of those movies where it's on and I can't turn away from it. You know? I've never served. I know Kev has. I don't know what any of that's like for people. I've got many friends that have served, and you know, not in Vietnam, but Desert Storm, stuff like that. So, you know, to see movies like this that depict what it really was like is kind of jarring to somebody who's never been there and never experienced it, anything like that. So, I give this movie 3.5 out of 4 stars, 4 out of 5, whatever you want to consider it. It's a fantastic movie. Nominated for 8 Oscars. It won 4, including Best Picture and Best Director. It was nominated for 2 Best Supporting Actors, Tom Berenger and William Dafoe. They did lose. I had never seen that before. I don't know how many times it's happened in the past where you've had 2 actors being nominated in the same movie. So, again,
can I ask you why you didn't give it a perfect review? Because it sounds like you think it's the perfect movie. I'm curious.
I don't know. I don't think it's the perfect movie. There's some spots where it does kind of like tail off. Like after he's wounded the first time and he comes back and they're cleaning out the outhouses. I don't know where that fits into the whole concept of the movie. If you've seen the movie and Hugh, I know you haven't seen it, but Kevin and Paul, you both have seen it, correct?
Mhm.
Other than that part of the movie, it's pretty much them pumping through the jungle, fighting. You know, there's not much else. So I don't know where that played into the. I think you almost had to throw that in there to get a little character building, I guess. Find out where Charlie Sheen came from. Find out that he wasn't drafted, which at the time was the big thing, being drafted into the service. He actually volunteered.
He's a rich kid to volunteer.
Rich kid. Yeah, he was in college.
Or well off.
Yeah. You know, he goes, I was in college, I just wasn't doing anything in college, so I decided to join up. And everybody kind of looks at him like, are you fucking insane? Don't you know what's going on over here? Type of thing.
So Sheen represented the Lost in Space GI. You know, he was in the moment, he was in the place, he was there, whether he wanted to be or not. And then you've got Defoe and Berenger representing, well, actually, I should say Berenger and Defoe representing the good and the evil, or I get them confused sometimes because sometimes I think
Tom Berenger was the
bad guy.
He was the bad guy. He's the one.
Berenger was the bad guy.
Yeah.
So it's really a classic battle between good and evil, and it's Charlie Sheen sitting in the middle, going, you know, who's right? You know, we're in this horrible place. We're in this horrible time. We're seeing these horrible things. We're involved in these horrible events.
Right.
You know, is it better to be more humanistic, or is it better to just be this horrible individual and just, you know, power through and, you know, everybody's a fuck and every situation's a shitstorm and I'm just going to destroy and burn everything. The story behind this is classic, whether it's set in Vietnam or any other setting, where you've got these two completely different ways to handle, you know, the shit situation you're in. And the story is fantastic. I saw it before I went into service. I mean, this and Apocalypse Now, and you know, any one of those movies were what we lived on when we were kids. You know, before I went in, and then I went into service and I realized there was no fucking way I was going to combat with anybody I was in the fucking military with. So I got my dumb ass out. But this is, I mean, I lived on shit like this when I was in high school and middle school.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I lived on, you know, you talk about Apocalypse Now, Red Dawn, this movie. I mean, there's a ton of movies that were like that, but this movie, I mean, it's, you know, but there's a couple of scenes where it's just like, you know, why is this here? I mean, it really, that the part with Sheen and they're cleaning out the shit house and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I know you got to have that because it's a movie and you got to have the character build and all that stuff and whatnot. So, I mean, I get why it's there, but it just, I don't think it really had any play in the movie. It was very much, like Kev said, very much a good versus evil. You know, Charlie Sheen's character is trying to figure out his place in there. You know, is he supposed to be this hard ass that is just unfeeling about everybody that's there, his own people, the people that they're trying to help, the enemy that they're trying to fight, and then you got Defoe's character who is trying to help everybody. Like, he's just the guy that's like, well, you don't have to be like that guy. You don't have to, you don't have to just walk through this war with no feelings. There are people here that are good people. You know, they're just trying to do what everybody else is trying to do. They're just trying to survive. Mm-hmm. You know, the spot where they're in the village, Kev, and, you know, you see Tom Berenger's character trying to interrogate the village and stuff, and you can see he's got no heart, and he's just doing whatever he has to do to get through to the village. You know, he's trying to find out if, you know, were they helping the NBA, were they not helping the NBA, did they have a hand in it or anything like that? And then whatever, you know, what happens at and when Defoe's character shows up, you can see where he's like, what are you doing? This isn't supposed to be like that.
Right. Berenger's character goes in, without any belief that they weren't helping.
Right.
So and that's where the evil aspect of it comes in, because he's already lost.
Yeah.
He represents the side of it that he just doesn't have any ability to see the good or the right, or the correct path to take. He's just going to power through. And he represents every bad thing that we've ever heard of about the Vietnam War, or any war.
Yeah.
Or any situation where you had an individual that had that kind of ability to be that kind of powerful. And he scared the people he dealt with, and he scared his own men.
Yep.
They didn't know what to do, so they followed it because
they were scared of it.
they didn't know any other way. There's no other way. And Defoe's character wasn't powerful enough to lead them in a different direction. He wasn't powerful enough to change Berenger's direction. So, do you guys know? Just listen to some of these names, okay? Forrest Whitaker, Johnny Depp. Who else did I see? There's so many names in this movie, and you're only going to see them for a second here and there. So some of the characters longer, but 86. I mean, imagine what these who these actors were then. For that alone, definitely worth seeing.
That was one of Johnny Depp's first main starring movies. I mean, he was in Nightmare on Elm Street. That came out before this, but he had a big part in that. But this was the first movie that he actually had, I think, a real big scene, real big stuff, and people kind of remembered him in the movie. But but he was young at the time. This is, like I said, like his second or third movie total.
Yeah.
And it was a huge movie at the time. So
I didn't remember him being in it.
He was Lerner. He was the guy that was the translator in that village.
Okay.
He spoke Vietnamese. So so he was the one that was translating. I mean, he ends up when they get in the ambush where Tom Berenger kills William Dafoe's character, or shoots him, doesn't count, shoots him. When they have the ambush and they have the ordnance, they drop the ordnance on their own guys.
Mm-hmm.
Where of course Whitaker gets killed. I don't think he gets killed, but he gets wounded or whatever. He ends up getting wounded too. He ends up getting burnt. They show a brief picture of him. He's only in it 5 minutes total.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp is. But you remember his character, so it's just wild. And you're right, the name of people that were in that movie, it's just crazy.
John McGinley's the other one I was thinking of. Sergeant O'Neill.
Yeah,
he's been in so much. So many of these people. Reggie Johnson. He's been in just a ton of shit.
Actually, Corey Glover?
Corey Glover's in it. Yep, it's Francis.
You know who he is? You know what his famous for right now? He's the lead singer for In Living Color.
No.
Yes. He's the lead singer.
Nice.
Shit. No kidding.
I didn't know that when I first saw the movie, but yeah, he ends up being he's the lead singer for Living Color. So it's pretty wild.
That's awesome.
And I'm noticing that's kind of a theme with a lot of the movies we're reviewing, is that at the time they were a group of unknowns who all of a sudden they just blew the fuck up.
Yeah.
Not literally, maybe in this movie, but
I mean, that's what happens when these are classic movies. So of course the actors in these movies are going to be noticed because they were so good.
Yeah.
Right.
No doubt. I mean, this is one of the movies that built these characters,
Even the guy that got Oliver Stone's coffee on this movie probably got promoted to a better position at some point.
Yeah, he cleaned shitters in the next movie, I think. What goes in must come out.
Very true.
Just like fingers.
Bogey fingers.
Bogey fingers.
Got to bring it back.
So what does Long Roger Ebert have to say about this movie?
First of all, he gives it 3 stars out of 5. And he says it was Francois Truffaut who said that it's not possible to make an anti-war movie because all war movies, with their energy and sense of adventure, end up making combat look like fun. If Truffaut had lived to see Platoon, the best film of 1986, he might have wanted to modify his opinion. Here is a movie that regards combat from ground level, from the infantryman's point of view, and it does not make war look fun. The movie was written and directed by Oliver Stone, who fought in Vietnam and who has tried to make a movie about the war that is not fantasy, not legend, not metaphor, not message, but simply a memory of what it seems like at the time to him. The movie is narrated by a young soldier played by Charlie Sheen, based on Stone himself. He's a middle-class college student who volunteers for the war because he considers it his patriotic duty, and who is told soon after he arrives in the combat zone, "You don't belong here." He believes it. There are no false heroics in this movie and no standard heroes. The narrator is quick at the point of physical collapse, bedeviled by long marches, no sleep, ants, snakes, cuts, bruises, and constant gnawing fear. In a scene near the beginning of the film, he is on a guard duty when he clearly sees enemy troops approaching his position, and he freezes. He will only gradually, unknowingly, become an adequate soldier. The movie is told in a style that rushes headlong into incidents. There is no carefully mapped plot to lead us from point to point. Instead, like the characters, we are usually disoriented. Anything is likely to happen, usually without warning. From the crowded canvas, large figures emerge. Barnes, played by Tom Berenger, the veteran sergeant with the scarred face, the survivor of so many hits that his men believe he cannot be killed. Elias, played by William Dafoe, another good fighter, but a man who tries to escape from this reality through drugs. Bunny, played by Kevin Dillon, we didn't mention him yet, the scared kid who has become dangerous because that seems like a way to protect himself. There is rarely a clear, unequivocal shot of an enemy soldier. They are wraiths, half seen in the foliage, their presence scented on jungle paths, evidence of their passage unearthed in ammo dumps buried beneath villages. Instead, there is the clear sense of danger all around and the presence of civilians who sometimes enrage the troops just by standing there and looking confused and helpless. There is a scene in the movie that seems inspired by Melee, although it does not develop into a massacre. As we share the suspicion that these villagers may, in fact, be harboring enemy forces, we share the fear that turns to anger, and we understand the anger that turns to violence. Some of the men in Platoon have lost their bearings, are willing to kill almost anyone on the slightest pretext. Others still retain some measure of the morality of the situation. Since their own lives also may be at stake in their arguments, there is a great sense of danger when they disagree. We see Americans shooting other Americans, and we can understand why. After seeing Platoon, I fell to wondering why Stone was able to make such an effective movie without falling into the trap Truffaut spoke about, how he made the movie riveting without making it exhilarating. Here's how I think he did it. He abandoned the choreography that is standard in almost all war movies. He abandoned any attempt to make it clear where the various forces were in relation to each other, so that we never know where our side stands and where they are. Instead of battle scenes in which lines are clearly drawn, his combat scenes involve 360 degrees. Any shot might be aimed at friend or enemy, and in the desperate rush of combat, many of his soldiers never have a clear idea of exactly who they are shooting at or why. Traditional movies impose a sense of order upon combat. Identifying with the soldiers, we feel that if we duck behind this tree or jump into this ditch, we will be safe from the fire that is coming from over there. In Platoon, there is the constant fear that any movement offers a 50-50 chance between a safe place or an exposed one. Stone sets up his shots to deny us the feeling that combat makes sense. The Vietnam War is the central moral and political issue of the last quarter century for Americans. It has inspired some of the greatest recent American films: Apocalypse Now, The Deer Hunter, Coming Home, The Killing Fields. Now here is the film that, in a curious way, should have been made before any of the others. A film that says, as the Vietnam Memorial in Washington says, that before you can make any vast sweeping statements about Vietnam, you have to begin by understanding the bottom line, which is that a lot of people went over there and got killed dead. And that is what the war meant for them. Wow. Sounds like he was pretty dead on with that one.
I'm bothered by the fact that he says Apocalypse Now was inspired by the Vietnam War. Apocalypse Now is based on a novel called Heart of Darkness, and it was transposed and moved to the Vietnam War for the purposes of the film.
Okay.
The original source that inspired the movie did not take place in Vietnam. And I know this because I was forced to read it during a college course, and I had trouble sleeping for like 3 or 4 weeks after I finished that book.
Heart of
Wow.
Darkness is fucked up.
Never read it.
We
I'll
had
take
to
yours
read
word
it,
for it.
dissect it, write papers on it, and delve into the themes. And yeah, it was a mind fuck. Not something that you put a 14-year-old through. I mean, I guess it is, but I could handle it, but still.
Wait a minute. You were doing college courses at 14?
I was through Johns Hopkins CTY, Center for Talented Youth Programs. I was spending 3 weeks every summer at I went to Skidmore down in Saratoga Springs. So we do like a whole college course in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Among other activities. I mean, they made us, do some sports and take some other classes, but we had one primary focus and we tried to get through one whole semester in 3 weeks. So yeah, I did that for 4 years. The 4 years I was eligible.
Gotcha. Wow. All right. Any final remarks on our movie review?
See it. It's not too late. It's a timeless story. I think as an adult, I think you're going to get more out of it than you would have watching it in school, or being school aged. I think you'll be able to see the two poles in
Yeah, I agree.
and see it for the story rather than see it for the action and the horror of
Right, the blood. The blood and guts. I mean, there's a lot of that stuff. I mean, it starts right out in the beginning. Even what they say, like when the new recruits are getting off the plane and they're loading the dead bodies on the plane. I mean, that's just awe striking. Like,
Yeah.
and the guy and you see the guys that are walking past them having what they call the 1,000-yard stare.
Mm-hmm.
They're just staring off into nothing. Because that's how you get it in the jungle, because that's all it was. I mean, you literally stood in a jungle the whole time trying to figure out if that leaf over there is moving and do I have to shoot it?
Yeah.
And you didn't know if it was your guy, their guy, another guy. You didn't know. And, it just, I don't know for a fact, but it has to wear on you.
I would assume it does.
And that you get to that point where you just get to that point where you become so numb and you just stare off into space, so I relish the fact that these guys go and do this stuff on a daily basis. Like I said, I got friends that served, and the two guys I play golf with both served. They served from the time they got out of high school, and I always, especially with everything that's going on right now in the world, I thank anybody who was served for their service. It's something it is a true calling, and the people that do it, more power to you. And I thank you for everything that you do for us. So.
All right. And I think on that note, we'll go right to commercial. Stick with us, folks. hottest new comic on the shelf or a key back issue to complete your run? How about that rare statue or action figure that you've scoured the internet looking for? Come to Collectibles Galore, located in North Syracuse with ample off-street parking. Collectibles Galore has a huge selection of comics, toys, and rare pop culture items you won't find anywhere else. Comics Galore is always buying comics and toys and will give you the fairest price for your collection. New customers get 15% off their first purchase in store. Collectibles Galore for all of your pop culture needs. Stop in and see for yourself why Collectibles Galore is the king of comics. Welcome back. Hey guys, you want a WTF file?
What's that?
I don't even care. I want it.
I mean, Kevin should be the one saying that. But
No, I don't recall hearing that phrase for a very long time.
exactly, because we've been trapped at home and nothing fucked up's been able to be happening.
Really? It's been pretty fucked up.
Everything fucked up is happening. Where have you been?
Okay, I guess that's true. So anything that would have come across doesn't count, I guess.
Now you'd be like, hey guys, I got a WTF file. I saw a squirrel today. Something normal that isn't fucked up is a WTF file at this point.
He actually went outside today. That's a what the fuck.
I left the house today, guys. All right. So my first WTF since I think 2019. I was in the office last Friday, so I went out for lunch, and I'm dressed business casual, a polo shirt and khakis. I'm walking down the street, and I'm crossing over the street, sidewalk to sidewalk, and it's a guy coming at me, of Latin descent, I would say. And he definitely looks like he's not firing on all cylinders. He's definitely fucked up at something. And he stares me in the face. He goes, "You're a probation officer." I go, "What? You're a probation officer, aren't you?" I said, No, you look like a probation officer." I said, "I work in IT, dude." He just kind of stumbled away after that. He was insist, "I'm a probation officer."
I always wanted to tell you that, Paul.
Did I look like a probation officer?
You
I?
You look like
Yeah.
You look like a dick.
Yeah, you look like someone who would trade blowjobs for a positive report on a probation report. Yeah.
Is that a thing?
That's
You got into the wrong industry, apparently.
Oh, I just hit me funny. I mean, it's just like only that shit happens to me, and I figured I could bring back a segment for that. So,
Well, you're downtown. I mean, that happens to everybody downtown.
Oh yeah. If you're not walking crooked, they think you're a cop.
Yeah,
This is also true.
if you're not stumbling, bumbling, mumbling, you're some type of law enforcement.
Or a guy wearing a skirt, which is what I saw this morning on the way to work.
not surprised.
No.
So, I've got a few things I wanted to make sure we discussed here. Before we get into our midstream. First of all, you guys have all seen the Spider-Man teaser trailer, right?
Yep.
Yep.
There's a Spider-Man teaser trailer?
No.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yes, you have.
I was told I had to watch it before the podcast, just in case you're wondering.
Okay, good. Who told you that?
My son.
Okay. He's all right. He makes a good manager.
Watch it because they're going to talk about it.
He's not wrong. I mean, how great does that look? First of all, it looks like they're gonna loosely adapt One More Day, which I'm sure it's gonna thrill a lot of people. But we've got, just from that teaser trailer, we've got Doctor Strange, Wong, for a minute, apparently scolding people. Looks like Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro, and courtroom scene. Was that Matt Murdock?
Some people have posted some pictures on Twitter who swear up and down that that's Matt Murdock in those scenes, and I can't deny that kind of looks like what he dressed up with, in the show. So it's entirely possible.
Same actor that played
Charlie Cox.
That's the rumor.
That rumor's
Wow.
been around for a while, so
Wow.
I'm hoping it's true. Even if we just get him as Matt Murdock, I mean, that's the foot's back in the door. That opens everything back up for it. So
definitely want more Daredevil.
yes.
Yeah, I thought the trailer was good. They deliberately shied away from making the biggest reveals that everybody was waiting for, which are the other Spider-Men in it. If that is indeed true, we don't know for sure. I'm a little confused though. I thought they said they weren't releasing a trailer like a week ago.
Yeah, and then somebody leaked an unfinished one, so they had to scramble and do something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Somebody leaked? That's not cool.
No, I mean, at least clean that up.
All right, seriously.
They have medicine for that.
Thank you.
And exercises, apparently. Yeah.
But
And
I
diapers.
thought the leak was just somebody taking it on their phone at CinemaCon.
No, the one that I saw. The fuck is going on over there, Corbs?
That's my
Yeah, I like him less now. Yeah. No, what I saw, because I saw part of the leak, is someone literally recorded with their phone a laptop playing the unfinished trailer. Like it definitely, no CGI was in that, and it was really hard to see. So I mean, I'm only going off of the parts I saw with the whole Doctor Strange doing the spell thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I was shocked that in the real trailer he was actually wearing like sweatpants and stuff with his cape. I was like, oh, I figured that was just not, unedited. So, but yeah, I'm super excited for it. It looks like it's going to be awesome. I'm still iffy about going back to a theater, especially in the middle of winter, but
Wait a minute. Did you just go to a theater and watch Snake Eyes?
right. And that's why I said I'm iffy about doing it again.
He got
Like I said.
squirted in the face, dude. He took one in the
Yeah,
face.
that's only
in that
because
movie.
Kevin
He
was.
doesn't-
I mean,
I was assaulted last time I was in the theater. Why would I want to do it again?
And now he's gonna sue Nirvana in 30 years.
I'm not going back to a theater ever.
Yeah, we had that discussion.
you talk about that, the nasty ass people that go there.
Yeah, people are disgusting. Just to
said that.
reiterate it.
I said that.
You did. We just heard it a minute ago. Next on my my checklist here, guys, we have an officially approved COVID vaccine
Hooray!
Yeah. COVID won the fight. I mean, God,
It did, actually. We're all going to be zombies.
right? That probably won't age well. I meant Pfizer won the fight. They won the battle, the first one to be approved. So does that make them like the Blu-ray of COVID?
Well, I mean, they have the most money. They've had the most products to market, up to this point. Although you could actually say they don't compared to Johnson & Johnson, but Johnson & Johnson's got some production issues.
Great.
Yeah. Between Pfizer and Moderna, Pfizer's definitely got the ability to go to market down.
Well, you should have known Johnson & Johnson was going to have a problem. Any product whose company's name is basically my dick and my dick is not a company to bet on ever.
My dick and my schlong. So yeah, I really only brought that up just so I could make the Blu-ray joke. The only reason I wanted that one in there. Moving on. Hugh, you more than anybody here is probably going to appreciate this one. Did you see what happened last week on AEW?
I did.
I did. Wow.
I saw it
Wow.
too.
What happened?
That-
CM Punk has returned to professional wrestling after 7 years. And
Son of the AEW.
Signed with AEW, did it in his hometown.
Yep.
Bought everyone ice cream.
He did.
Okay, I missed that part.
Very end.
He said, everybody there on your way out, there's an ice cream truck. Grab an ice cream treat on me. And apparently he really did. He actually set that up with the company 2 years ago because he's been working on this return for a while. So yeah, he literally wrote the check himself, bought everybody in the stadium ice cream. And the line that stuck with me the most out of his speech was that, I had to come back here and now because even if he said if you were unhappy about decisions I made in the past, I couldn't come back to the same place that made me sick to begin with. And, a lot of his issues were that, he considers himself a pro wrestler. He is, he believes in the athletic part of it and all of that. And in WWE, it was a shit show. It's politics. It's all sorts of garbage. And, he left because it killed his love of professional wrestling. I'm excited to see what he can do. He doesn't look like he's aged a day.
I saw some gray in that beard.
But gray, but beyond that, come on, you see, every time you see Ric Flair come back, you're like, Jesus Christ,
That man looks weathered.
Yeah.
Weathered. That's
But exciting stuff.
Yeah. Now I didn't see the whole speech thing. When I went searching for a clip this morning, I saw the entrance. And watching it days later, knowing full well that this already happened, I sat there tonight while I was watching it to make sure it was an appropriate clip to add to the show notes. Fucking goosebumps. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Just the crowd. I mean, and you could see it when it hit him. I don't know if he was staged or not doing it, but he dropped to his knees and just looked around in awe at the crowd that was going fucking crazy for him.
And when he left the other promotion, he was on top. You have to understand, he was the top guy at that point. Now there was a lot of politics involved. And there still was a lot of politics involved in that promotion. So, but he left because there was a lot going on. But he was the top draw at that point.
Yeah,
so,
he was definitely a top guy.
Yeah,
and what they said, it was his pipe bomb speech, right?
Yeah, his pipe bomb speech, which I still can't believe that Vince let him do. That's shocking.
I don't think Vince had much of a choice. I think if I recall it correctly, they cut his microphone out at one point.
Yeah, well, they did, but they told him go out and say whatever you want to say, and at some point we're going to cut your microphone. And the fact that they let him go on that far before cutting his microphone is what got me. And here's the thing. Even though Vince is really good at running his own company into the ground, he let him do it, and then still didn't change anything, which just it's baffling. It's one thing if you say even with ego, if you say to a guy, listen, go out there and shit talk me, it'll be great for ratings, then you have to run with that. And I don't know, you get a 1 night bump, maybe a 2 night bump next week, and then you're back to the same old shit. I don't get it.
Because when he did that, then you tuned in next week to see if he was going to come back and say something else.
Right. See if it was a work or not.
You keep coming back, and then after, like you said, after two weeks, you realize okay, he's not coming back. So then you start researching. Well, did he actually leave? Then you found out that he actually left the company. Then you're like, oh, okay, I don't have to worry about it now.
Yeah. I mean, if he had stayed there, he would have been the next big star. He would have been the next Stone Cold, the next Rock, the next John Cena. Arguably, you could say he was at that time. Yeah,
because he's another one that had already transcended. He literally walked away from millions.
Yep.
And good on him for doing it.
And he took his wife with him.
Took his what?
Took his wife with him.
Oh, yeah. Not all of them do that.
You know who his wife is, right?
No.
AJ Lee.
Who?
I vaguely have heard the name.
She was the women's champion. She actually at that point had held the women's title the longest.
Oh, nice.
They were an item when he left. I think 2 months later, she walked out.
Nice.
And she hasn't been back in it. there's always rumors of her coming back and whatnot. Obviously, there's always rumors of him coming back. Every time the WWE went to Chicago, there was rumors of him showing up
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. And, so for him to come back to the promotion that he came back to, that's pretty wild. There's talk about other guys going there too. So there's guys that Vince has let go.
Yeah.
They've been letting guys go like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And you know, I mean, some of it is the current COVID culture too. I mean, you can't, especially when they weren't touring, you
Right.
can't afford to have that many people on the roster. I mean, what are you gonna do with them all?
true,
You know what I mean? So
true. But I mean, in the past, honestly, in the past 2 months, they've let close to 100 acts go.
yeah, between all the shows, right? NXT
between
and then the
SmackDown,
main shows.
Yeah. But that's still, I mean, that's crazy, and that's I mean, they've let guys go like Samoa Joe, who they rehired to NXT, but I mean, Daniel Bryan's no longer there. Somebody else big. Braun Strowman, he's no longer with the WWE.
No kidding.
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt, he asked
Yeah.
for his release.
Did he?
He asked for his release.
I knew he was gone, but I didn't know he asked for the release.
Yep.
I think I read an article about that, and because they were commending him on being gone because he saw they were mismanaging his character.
Yeah.
And he was Undertaker was the one that was basically like good on him.
Yeah.
So maybe I did see that he did ask for the release. And then another one, like you said before, Flair. He asked for his release. He's gone.
Yep.
Over creative differences. Apparently it was so he could do car commercials or something. I saw that last night and wow, that's
Car Shield.
Really? That's
Yeah, he's
what
doing
what
Car
is-
Shield or something like that, right? Car Shield commercial or some shit like that.
it's a car something or other, some
Yeah.
weird car internet service thing.
Yeah.
And all I know is I marveled at, like, I'm looking at him and I'm like, I'm not sure if that's Rick or if that's Charlotte's grandma. Like,
Yeah, he looks. Now he's had some real big health issues too. He was in a coma. He was in a coma for a couple of weeks, I think,
Jesus
last
Christ.
year. I mean,
Mhm.
he was close to. From what I remember, he was close to dying.
It looks like it.
And he looks like he's been struggling.
But you know what? That motherfucker can draw still. Not like sketch, like draw people.
His daughter's the same way too. She's
I was watching a Raw the other night. I wasn't impressed with her. I really don't like her.
But she always gets the pop, and then of course, SummerSlam was last weekend, so they had a few stars come back.
Yeah, I
don't know if you
heard
guys-
about that.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody watched SummerSlam, but
I did.
you did.
Yep.
So you got Brock came back, and then so did Becky Lynch.
Yeah, I heard there are a lot of people not happy
Oh,
about
that was awful.
Yeah,
the Becky Lynch
the Becky Lynch
squash.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then apparently the squash for John Cena went on after cameras went off too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Braun F5'd him and suplexed him for like 10 minutes.
all over the ring, yeah, just to
Like
prove the
10
point
minutes.
that he's done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? He should be done. He's pulling the rock card at this point.
Yeah,
You know, he doesn't need to do it anymore. He came back for his last hurrah to put him over. And
I disagree. You can't say he should be done because he was as good in that match as he's ever been.
oh no,
that
I'm not
was
saying it like that. I'm not saying he's past his prime. I'm saying he's got a better deal to move on to.
Okay.
He doesn't need to do this anymore. You know what I mean?
I think you're right, Paul. I think it was more to get Roman Reigns
Over.
and then you bring in Brock. He eliminates the whole Cena angle by the 75 F5s and the 39 power bombs or whatever, suplexes or whatever in a row type of thing. That eliminates that whole storyline, and it's now Brock and
Like, that's what you're going to focus on. But the problem with Brock Lesnar is he comes back for literally 3 matches a year. Like, he is the current Undertaker.
right,
So,
and he has that in his contract.
yeah,
He
which
comes and
sucks
goes.
because you know what? He's young enough to do the full schedule if he needed to.
Right.
Like, Taker, I understood. I mean, he put the time in. He was up there. He's well into his 50s, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he earned the fact to show up just for pay-per-views, basically. Brock, I mean, he's been a star for years. He's carried a lot of the weight for Vince for a while.
Yep.
I'm not saying he hasn't earned that, but dude, I mean, you're still in your prime for pro wrestling. Like, do your schedule, man. Like, he's got to be able to earn so much more money that way, right? I mean, just
He still gets paid the same amount. Whatever his contract is, he still shows up for 3 shows, shows up for 300 shows.
I just don't like him.
You know, he's still getting the same.
Well, it's tough to hinge your big promotions and your big pay-per-views on a guy that's going to show up for the next Monday Night Raw and then disappear for 3 or 4 months. You can't build momentum.
Right.
I agree.
And that's part of, you look at the previous stars. I mean, there's still people walking around in Austin 316 shirts, and that's because he worked his ass off. I don't see any Beast shirts or Lesnar shirts out there because it's like, hey, it's great to see him again, but I know he's going to be gone for a year.
Right. You're going to work your program and you're going to be gone. Yeah.
Can I ask a question about John Cena?
Sure.
Do you guys actually believe that his performance in Suicide Squad was good enough for him to move on to his next career?
Well, seeing as his next career is the same performance, yeah. He's getting a spin-off show, right?
Peacemaker. Yeah.
Is it a movie or is it like a
TV show?
It's going to be an HBO Max show. Yeah.
I don't know if it's-
Well, I mean, he's going to be in the next Suicide Squad too. I mean, if they have another one. Oops.
Spoiler.
Sorry.
Has everybody seen it now?
No.
Oh.
I don't have HBO Max.
Here's the thing. His character in Suicide Squad was kind of I don't want to say he was one-dimensional, but what you're talking about, Kev, is how the character was written, and I think he played that character perfectly. Does he have dramatic range to go outside of that? I don't know, but this gives him enough currency to try. And if you give him a role,
done quite a few movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of them are wrestling movies,
like WWE films, movies.
Yeah, films from the WWE.
I don't know if I've ever seen him in anything, and I know we touched on this before. That's how we ended up having to link in the show notes to the Marine.
If you haven't watched the Marine, you're not doing yourself a favor. Okay. What you need to do is watch the Marine with a notepad and take down every single time that they screw up the filming. It's fun. It's a game, and then you have a beer and you drink, and it's fun.
I thought about coming up with a movie where I could just live tweet through it, just for something fun to do and to try and get a little more fan interaction.
Do it with the Marine, and don't tell anybody what the title of the movie is, and find out how quick people figure out exactly what it is.
Well, you see, we're notorious for not getting any fan interaction other than Laura. And now, demanding that I quickly edit.
Yes.
Kelly. I'm really gonna try to get it edited and put out tonight after we're done recording the show, just for her. So, hey, we have a fan in the hospital who's asking for a new episode. It's the least I can do. Probably the most I can do too. So
I got a feeling more than one of us is going to be in the hospital after she gets out and actually sees this.
We've been decent to her.
Dude, she only has pull over one of us. I'm not going to the hospital.
Right.
Yeah, how many fingers did you just hold up, Corbs?
All of them. All 5.
Don't worry, he'll just put them in all 18 holes and everything will be forgiven.
Bogey fingers.
All right. So I think that concludes our wrestling segment.
Welcome to WrestlePod.
So let's jump into, unless you guys have anything else you want to cover before we go into what we've been watching.
I'm going to pull the covers over my head in a minute.
Night.
We're going long.
A little bit.
Oh, because we started late.
Well, there's that too. So the shows we've been watching, the biggest one I think we need to hit is Walking Dead's back. Some of us, it's been back for over a week, but
Yeah, I'm on episode 2 already. So
All right, we're not.
I'm on episode 2 already.
You got to make sure the finger's in there.
all right, all I gotta say is this. All right, just sticking with episode 1 because that's all you guys have seen. I am not happy with the end of that episode, not for the normal reasons. I feel like they are going to destroy all of the goodwill and character growth that Negan's done over the past years, and even if they don't have him go all the way bad, that was just. I don't care what Angela Kang says in the behind the scenes segment after the episode. It was a bad move.
I agree. Not what I thought was going to happen. Like I thought this was going to be the redeeming spot, and this is where they were going to start to repair the rift. Yeah.
Bend the fences or whatever, and they're going to pull a freaking Glenn on them.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. You say Negan has some sort of redeeming qualities. I couldn't disagree more. Negan is always Negan. He's always been Negan. He'll always be Negan. And he's exactly who he's always been. He'll always be exactly who he's always been. Just exactly like Coleman Domingo's character in Fear the Walking Dead. It doesn't matter what happens day to day. A human being is always going to fall back to what they know. And as we know, these stories, Walking Dead, is a story about people. It's not a story about zombies. It's a story about people. And while we wish that, people can be redeemed, the reality is Negan has always done exactly what he needed to do to survive.
Yep.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong there.
I can't, I can't get on board that train, specifically because redeeming doesn't necessarily mean he has to not be the person he is. We've seen him in the past. We know that, he is not a bad guy in the traditional sense. No. Like, he's not the governor. He did what he had to do to survive. He's also capable of being kind to a child, risking himself to save what's her face Grimes, who we haven't seen. Judith, we haven't seen in forever.
Hey, she was in episode 1 for a tenth of a second.
Yeah, he's not a completely awful guy. And part of the problem here is that they can't use the comic book ending for Negan anymore.
Right.
Because they already did in the jail cell when she decides not to shoot him because he's pathetic. Okay. So they can't do that anymore. So the only place to go with him is get to a point where while they're not going to get together and make sweet, sweet love, but they can coexist because he is a valuable member of the community. If they go back to she kills him because he's an asshole, then this entire past few years, it's just been a waste.
Yeah.
Why bother?
Oh, I don't agree with that. I think Maggie holding on to what Negan did to Glenn, I think is completely valid. Yes. And her inability to see him for anything other than what he was then is completely valid.
Yes.
And his inability to see her as the leader she's become, understanding that everyone there is following her because it was a choice they made, not because she's being some sort of vile dictator. He doesn't like the situation. He doesn't like where he is. So he lashes out because that's what he does. Because when he's not in control and when he's not making the decisions, he's going to make sure that somebody else looks bad so that he can look good. That's who he is. When it comes right down to it, is he good to children? Sure. Is he good to women overall? Yeah, because that's who he was. But the reality is, always has been and always will be, he will always do what's best for Negan first.
Well, I guess we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm really interested to see how this plays out. I'm kind of disenchanted because the ending kind of looked like another episode that we'd seen in the past.
I immediately went to my wife. She crawled under the dumpster.
And I'm like, come on, okay, we got different showrunners, but why do you got to repeat the same thing? Yeah. So Didn't they, what really happened to Maggie? We're going to find out.
She's not dead.
And you will find
Probably
out in
not.
the next episode.
Yeah.
They're not
I
tracking.
immediately turned to Kristen and said they didn't sign her to come back for 3 episodes.
There's 2 possibilities here. Now, don't forget this. Let's say she's not dead, okay, but maybe she was bitten. They can run an entire storyline, an entire season, in the time from she gets bitten until the time that she gets her head, posted onto a spike, right? They could run an entire season that way, and they could do a hell of a lot in a day or day and a half, 2 days worth of whatever happens between A and B. So did they bring her back for a season? Did they bring her back for both seasons? Doesn't matter. We're done anyway. So
right.
I don't see them killing her off. I just don't see that. Obviously Daryl's not going anywhere because he's getting his own show. Same with Carol. These guys, they're all getting their own show. But like Paul said, I don't think they brought her back for a couple
handful
episodes.
of episodes.
Have her get bit and have her, she's finally. I think she's finally come to grips. I mean, she's got her son, which is Glenn's son.
Yeah.
I think she's got that. I think it's kind of like, well, I've got everything I've got, but the only obstacle I see in my way is this right here. So I'm going to hold on to that grudge to keep pushing me forward. But at the same time, I know that, we need him for whatever's coming. And if he dies, so be it.
Well, I honestly miss the days when, anyone could die at any time. I miss those days because that's when the show was really great.
Yeah.
You never knew who was going to make it and who wasn't going to make it on a day, on a show by show basis.
Right.
Let's not forget Carl's character was led on to believe that he was going to be around for a while, went out and bought a house, and they killed him off the next episode. So and his father was pissed enough to say something about it to the press. So those days unfortunately are gone. But I'd love to see him come back. I'd love to see him. Okay, yeah, they brought Maggie back. You know what? Fuck her. Let's just put one in her head, and let's move on. Let's find out who the next big character is going to be. There's a couple of people that could really pull it off and pull it to the end of the show. I don't think we need Maggie to go to the end of the show. I really don't. We've been without her for long enough. But that's the great thing about this show. You never really know what's going to happen. And I'm still hooked. I'm still in. I'm going to be there to the very end.
Did you guys catch the Easter egg in there?
Ooh. Don't tell me. I got to watch it a couple more times. I've only watched it twice.
It's real quick.
I've only watched it twice.
So Kev said don't tell him. So
hold on. Go ahead.
Did you catch Heath's name on the board?
Heath?
Heath.
No. I didn't.
When they're coming through, you see his name. See it twice, real quick. Flash, and then it showed again another flash.
No kidding.
Yeah, you're good, Kev.
Right. No, I did not catch that.
I'm gonna go see if I can find it now.
Right now, while we're still
actually, Kevin's gonna be like, I watched that episode 62 times. What the fuck were you talking about?
I always do though. I'll watch those episodes over and over and over again.
It was just one of I'm surprised I caught it. So
nice. So the rest of our weeklies, Stargirl, not a whole lot really happening. It's unfolding. We got to see the Shade really into it, which I was really cool with. But I mean, really, that's all we really got. That and the Thunderbolt. Yeah.
Titans was great as usual.
Yes.
Yep. I saw the first one.
Heels was actually better. There, I think that's coming into its own. At the end of the episode, my wife was like, "Okay, we can watch it." So, but yeah, it was a really good episode.
It was. Nice. I liked it. I'm looking forward. I've got
to get on board with this show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to next week's episode. So I was actually impressed. It was nice. It was, they kind of came full circle with everything that was going on. So
yeah, and it had everything. It had humor, drama. I mean, the whole kit and caboodle. It was a well packaged hour of TV.
Awesome.
I watched a movie this week. I want to recommend. from I think it's A24 Pictures, a movie that's been kind of like on the radar for a long time, The Green Knight.
Ooh, nice. I want to
It
see
is
that.
it is a retelling of a poem, an Arthurian legend. I don't want to go into too much detail. I will say that most of it is probably fine for kids, except for, the scene where you actually see a guy's cum all over his hand, which kind of came out of left field, but apparently there's a I had to look it up so that I could understand. No, there's no quotes here. That's what it is.
Where was his finger?
No, not going to get into it. What I will say is the movie, while slow, okay, it was like a Del Toro film. It was fucking beautiful.
Nice.
Like, I didn't care that it was slow. It was acted impeccably and it was beautiful. And it was like a fucking fever dream. You totally need to watch that without
I
the
want to
kids
see that
present.
one. Good. Outstanding. Otherwise, What If? Did you guys watch that today?
Yeah.
It was
all
cool.
right.
It was cool. It wasn't necessary. It's just basically a what if Hank
The
Pym
Avengers
goes nuts
died.
and kills
Yeah.
all the Avengers. Yeah.
And Avery was like, "Why isn't this the last episode? All the Avengers are dead now. What are they going to do next?" And we're like, we've been trying every week. We're like trying to explain the concept of this, and she just can't get it.
Nice. The kids are on board. They've got it so far, but really, otherwise, that's all I've really got. Last thing I have is my my wisdom nugget to take us out.
Yeah, I'm checking my notes. I only have this.
Oh,
You know what this is, Paul?
No.
You know how I've told you that I get those stabbing ice pick headaches?
Oh no. Yeah.
Well, the other morning I actually counted it for an hour so that I can, because I've never done that before, so I can bring it to my doctor. 115 stabs in 60 minutes.
That's
Holy
not fun.
crap.
Yeah, it's fun shit.
oh, ew. Yeah.
No.
That's not good.
Before you drop your wisdom nugget, I got a question to ask.
Okay.
Is anyone looking forward to Doom Patrol coming back?
Yes,
I have to
love that
start
show.
watching that.
So you like it, Hugh?
I love it. I think it's the best show on TV.
Is it because it follows the comic book? Is that what's going on?
Never read the comic book.
Oh,
It's just fucking amazing. And Timothy Dalton is God. So anything with him in it, I'm all for it.
which one's Timothy Dalton?
The old guy, the professor, doctor guy, the
Oh,
former James Bond, Timothy Dalton.
Okay. On that note.
Wow.
All right. So this week's wisdom nugget. Finding out your man's a little bitch has to be the worst gender reveal party ever. Good night, everybody, and megabyte me, bitches.
This has been a GeekPod Network production.